Tonight we drift into the warm, comforting world of the hot water bottle. A simple object, yet one that has soothed generations. Before we begin, a gentle reminder. This is a calm, bedtime exploration designed to help you unwind. Please don't listen while driving or doing anything that requires your full attention. Let this be a quiet moment just for you. A hot water bottle sits at the crossroads of practicality and tenderness. A small vessel of heat that has eased cold nights, calmed aches, and offered a kind of soft companionship. As you settle in, imagine the familiar weight of a hot water bottle resting against you. The gentle warmth radiates outward, slow and steady, like a quiet heartbeat. This warmth has a long story behind it, one that stretches back centuries, through chilly winters, candlelit bedrooms, and the ingenuity of people trying to stay warm in a world before central heating. Let your breathing soften as we begin tracing that story, moving back through time to the earliest ways humans tried to capture and hold heat. Long before rubber, stoppers and kettles, people still needed warmth. Imagine ancient homes, stone walls, earthen floors, and fires that glowed but didn't always reach every corner. Nights could be cold and warmth was precious. The earliest ancestors of the hot water bottle weren't bottles at all. They were heated stones, lifted carefully from the edge of a fire and wrapped in cloth or animal hide. Picture someone thousands of years ago placing a warm stone at the foot of a bed made of straw or woven mats. The heat would seep slowly into the bedding, creating a small oasis of comfort in the darkness. Later, in ancient Greece and Rome, people used metal pans filled with embers. These were slid beneath blankets or passed over sheets to warm them before sleep. The glow of the coals would cast soft, flickering light, and the metal would radiate a steady warmth. It was a ritual of preparation, a moment of care before resting. In colder northern climates, families warmed ceramic pots filled with hot water or heated sand. These vessels were smooth, rounded, and often beautifully made. You can imagine the feeling of holding one, the gentle heat spreading through the clay, the weight grounding the hands, the comfort immediate and soothing. These early inventions weren't just practical, they were gestures of protection against the cold, small acts of kindness woven into daily life. And slowly, over centuries, these warm companions evolved into something more recognizable. As we drift into the medieval and early modern periods, the world becomes colder, darker, and more drafty. Homes were heated by open fires, but bedrooms were often unheated. Winter nights could be biting, and people needed ways to warm their beds before climbing in. This was the age of the bed warmer, a long-handled pan made of brass or copper, filled with glowing embers from the hearth. Imagine the soft scrape of the handle against wooden floorboards as someone carried it upstairs. The lid would be lifted, embers placed inside, and then the pan would be slid gently between the sheets. The warmth spread quickly, but so did the risk. If the pan lingered too long, the sheets could scorch. If the embers were too hot, they could smoulder. So the bed warmer required care, patience, and a practiced hand. Despite the hazards, it became a household staple. In grand homes, servants warmed beds before their owners retired. In simpler cottages, families warmed their own, passing the pan from room to room. The bed warmer wasn't something you slept with. It was a preparatory tool, a way to take the edge off the cold before settling in. But it paved the way for something safer, gentler, and more personal. A vessel you could keep close, one that held heat without flame or ember. As the world moved toward the 18th and 19th centuries, a new kind of warmth was about to arrive, one that would transform bedtime comfort forever. As the 18th century unfolded, people began experimenting with safer, more portable ways to hold heat. The shift from embers to hot water was a quiet revolution. Water held warmth longer, cooled more predictably, and posed far fewer risks than glowing coals. Early hot water bottles were made from metal, often copper, brass, or tin. Imagine a small rounded flask with a screw-on cap, filled from a kettle and wrapped in cloth before being placed in a bed. The metal warmed quickly and radiated heat with a steady, comforting glow. These bottles were sturdy and practical, but they were also cold to the touch until wrapped. Their surfaces could be hard and unyielding, and they cooled faster than later designs. Still, they represented a shift toward personal warmth, something you could hold close, something that stayed with you through the night. In many homes, these early bottles became cherished objects. They were polished, repaired, and passed down. Some were engraved with initials or decorative patterns, turning a simple tool into a small piece of family history. As industrialization spread, new materials and new ideas began to reshape the humble hot water bottle. The next transformation would make it softer, safer, and far more comforting. By the 19th century, a new favourite emerged, the stoneware hot water bottle. These were made from thick ceramic, glazed smooth, and shaped into rounded, gentle forms that held heat for hours. Imagine the weight of one in your hands, solid, reassuring, with a warmth that seeped slowly through the glaze. Stoneware bottles were often oval or cylindrical, with a small opening sealed by a cork or ceramic stopper. They were wrapped in cloth or slipped into knitted covers, making them softer against the skin. These bottles became especially popular in Britain and Northern Europe, where winters were long and damp. In cottages, townhouses, and even hospitals, stoneware bottles offered steady, reliable warmth. They were placed at the foot of beds, tucked beside aching joints, or held close on nights when the cold felt sharper than usual. Some were decorated with simple patterns, or stamped with the names of local potteries. Others were plain and utilitarian, designed purely for function. But all of them shared the same purpose: to bring comfort in a world where warmth was still hard-won. As the Victorian era progressed, the hot water bottle became not just a household tool, but a symbol of care. To warm a bottle for someone was a small act of tenderness, a gesture that said, "Rest now, you're safe and warm." And yet, an even bigger change was on the horizon. A new material was about to reshape the hot water bottle forever. The late 19th and early 20th centuries brought a breakthrough that transformed countless everyday objects: vulcanized rubber. Flexible, durable, and able to withstand heat, rubber opened the door to a new kind of hot water bottle, one that was soft, pliable, and far more comfortable to hold. The first rubber hot water bottles appeared in the 1900s. They were simple in shape, flat, rectangular, and fitted with a screw cap. But their softness made them feel entirely different from the metal and stoneware versions that came before. Imagine pressing your hands around one of these early rubber bottles. The surface gives slightly under your fingers, warm and yielding. The heat spreads evenly without the hard edges or weight of earlier designs. Rubber bottles were lighter, safer, and easier to store. They could be slipped into knitted covers, wrapped in flannel, or held directly against the body. They quickly became a staple in homes, hospitals, and schools, a universal comfort object. As manufacturing improved, rubber bottles became more affordable. They appeared in catalogues, chemist shops, and department stores, often in soft colours or embossed with simple patterns. For many families, owning a rubber hot water bottle felt like a small luxury. As the 20th century unfolded, the world entered periods of upheaval and uncertainty. Yet even in difficult times, the hot water bottle remained a quiet source of comfort. During the First and Second World Wars, hot water bottles were used in barracks, field hospitals, and makeshift shelters. Rubber was rationed, so many bottles were made from stoneware or metal, returning briefly to earlier designs. Still, their purpose remained the same: to bring warmth where warmth was scarce. Imagine a cold barracks hut, wooden walls thin against the winter wind. A single hot water bottle, filled from a kettle heated over a small stove, becomes a shared comfort, passed between hands, tucked under blankets, offering a moment of relief. In hospitals, hot water bottles were used to warm patients, ease pain, and prevent shock. Nurses wrapped them in towels, checking the temperature carefully, placing them gently beside those who needed them most. Even in homes affected by rationing and shortages, the hot water bottle became a symbol of resilience. Families gathered around small fires, conserving fuel, relying on bottles to keep beds warm through long, cold nights. In these years, the hot water bottle wasn't just a household object. It was a companion through hardship, a reminder that even in the darkest times, small comforts mattered. After the war, life slowly brightened. Homes were rebuilt, industries revived, and new materials became available once again. Rubber production returned, and with it came a new generation of hot water bottles, softer, safer, and more colourful than ever before. The 1950s and 60s saw bottles in pastel shades, embossed with gentle patterns, and paired with knitted or flannel covers. Some covers were handmade, stitched with care, turning each bottle into something personal and cherished. Imagine a bedroom from this era: patterned wallpaper, heavy curtains, and a neatly made bed. A hot water bottle rests beneath the blankets, warming the sheets before someone settles in for the night. The warmth spreads slowly, creating a cocoon of comfort in a world that is beginning to feel hopeful again. Central heating was becoming more common, but it didn't replace the hot water bottle. Instead, the bottle found a new role, not just for warmth, but for soothing aches, easing tension, and offering a sense of calm. Children held them on winter mornings. Adults used them for sore backs or tired muscles. Elderly relatives kept them close on chilly evenings, the familiar weight a reminder of decades past. The hot water bottle had become more than a tool. It was part of the rhythm of home life, a small ritual of care at the end of each day. As the late 20th century flowed into the 21st, the hot water bottle continued to evolve. New materials, new shapes, and new designs appeared, each one offering a slightly different kind of comfort. Rubber bottles remained popular, but thermoplastic versions emerged, lighter, more flexible, and able to hold heat even longer. Some were transparent, showing the gentle swirl of warm water inside. Others came in soft plush covers shaped like animals or cushions, turning them into cozy companions. Electric heating pads and microwavable heat packs entered the market, yet the traditional hot water bottle held its place. There was something grounding about the ritual, boiling the kettle, waiting for the water to cool slightly, filling the bottle, pressing out the air, and tightening the stopper. It was a moment of pause, a small act of preparation that signaled the transition from the busy world to a quieter one. In modern homes, the hot water bottle is used for far more than cold nights. It soothes cramps, eases anxiety, warms hands after winter walks, and brings comfort during illness. It is simple, reliable, and deeply human in its purpose. Even now, in an age of smart devices and instant everything, the hot water bottle remains unchanged at its core, a vessel of warmth, held close, offering calm in the gentlest possible way. Every household has its own quiet rituals, and the hot water bottle has been part of many of them. Not dramatic rituals, not grand or ceremonial, but small, familiar gestures that mark the transition from day to night. Think of the sound of a kettle beginning to boil, the soft clink of a stopper being unscrewed, the gentle swirl of water as it pours into the bottle, steam rising in a pale ribbon. These are the sounds of slowing down, of preparing for rest. For some, warming a bottle is an act of self-care. For others, it's something done for a partner, a child, or an elderly relative, a quiet kindness offered without words. The bottle is slipped under blankets, warming the sheets before anyone climbs in, or it's held close to the chest, easing tension after a long day. These rituals have remained remarkably unchanged across generations, even as technology has transformed almost every corner of daily life. The simple act of filling a hot water bottle still feels grounding. It asks nothing more than a moment of attention, a pause, a breath. In a world that often moves too quickly, the hot water bottle invites slowness. It invites warmth. It invites rest. Beyond its practical purpose, the hot water bottle has become a symbol, a small emblem of comfort, tenderness, and human connection. It appears in stories, in childhood memories, in the quiet corners of winter evenings. People remember the bottle their grandmother used, wrapped in a knitted cover. They remember the one kept in the cupboard for cold nights, or the one brought out during illness, placed gently beside them. Hospitals still use them, so do care homes, mountain lodges, and remote cottages where the wind presses against the windows. Wherever warmth is needed, the bottle finds its place. It is a companion during recovery, a comfort during grief, a steady presence during sleepless nights. Its warmth is uncomplicated, not too bright, not too intense, just enough to soften the edges of discomfort. And perhaps that is why it endures. In a world of constant updates and new inventions, the hot water bottle remains unchanged because its purpose is timeless. It offers something deeply human, the reassurance of warmth held close. As we drift toward the end of this gentle journey, imagine a hot water bottle resting beside you now, warm, steady, familiar. Its story stretches back through centuries of cold nights, glowing embers, stoneware vessels, and soft rubber. A simple object, yet one that has touched countless lives. The hot water bottle endures because it meets a universal need, the desire to feel safe, soothed, and warm. It is a reminder that comfort doesn't have to be complicated. Sometimes it is as simple as warm water, a soft cover, and a moment of stillness. As you settle deeper into rest, let the warmth of this history linger with you. Let it soften your breathing, ease your thoughts, and carry you gently towards sleep. Thank you so much for sharing this quiet moment with me. If you'd like more bedtime stories like this, then please subscribe now. And if there's a topic you'd love to hear as you drift off, let me know in the comments. Sleep well and be safe.